each other just can't face. Ambition to measure the place. Who shall save the human race? Tell me, who shall save the human race? Tell me, who shall save the human race? Who shall save the human race? Who shall save the human race? On this wild goose chase. Who shall save the human race? It's a shame. Who shall save the big disgrace? Who shall save the human race? 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 It's a shame. Who shall save the big disgrace? Who shall save the human race? 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 Who shall save the human
Yo, what is up and what is going on? It's your boy Maki Dan the Historian coming to you with another stream for the Democracy Briefing. I see a lot of my folks already in the chat. I see Angie Baby came through first. Well, my brother Prize came through at 10:29 this morning. Salute to him. I see Vacay Bay, my OG, Crush the OG, the Boxing Scholar always coming through. I appreciate all of you so much. Everybody that comes through, or if you're watching the playback, please smash that like button and please subscribe to your boy. Your boy is just 110 subs away from 500, and I already got 4,000 watch hours. So I'm this close to becoming monetized. So I need everybody to get on board. Please share your boy video. I see my girl Vacay Bay. She already said she shared my stream. I appreciate you and everybody that comes through so much. Whew. Man, we are in like I'm really at a loss for words. We are in some serious times. I want to start with the story about the airmen that were lost over the weekend, but no. I'm gonna start with this post from our disgrace of a commander-in-chief. Donald Trump on Easter Sunday, after we had 2 U.S. jets that were shot down. An F-15 was shot down in Iran, and both pilots, thank God, were rescued. They were not captured and humiliated on Iranian state TV. But after that, instead of just taking a victory lap, Donald Trump comes out on Easter Sunday with this post on Truth Social, and it reads, "Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah." So I want to be very clear. Our commander-in-chief is threatening war crimes on the people of Iran to target and bomb civilian infrastructure such as power plants, which, by the way, the power plants are connected to the water desalination plants. And Iran is in a desert. So to destroy the power plants would essentially be to kill the people of Iran. Then he came out on Monday with this press conference doing a victory lap. And at that press conference, he was questioned about this post. And this is some of his response. I mean, it is just, we're really in some scary times. Like, I want to make jokes and laugh and make it funny. It's not funny. We are in some serious times, and we have a crazy, fucking decrepit human being in charge of the world's most powerful military, and he has the nuclear launch codes. But this is just a couple of clips from his press conference on Monday.
Bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition by 12 o'clock. And it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen.
Concerned that your threat to bomb power plants and bridges amount to
No,
war
not at
crimes?
all. No, I'm not. I hope I don't have to do it. We have to have a deal that's acceptable to me. And part of that deal is going to be we want free traffic of oil and everything else.
Mr. President, are you allowed to, or are you willing to end this conflict with Iran charging tolls for passage through the strait?
Us charging tolls?
Iran.
What about us charging tolls?
Is that something you're considering?
I'd rather do that than let them have them, right? Why shouldn't we? We're the winner. We've taken hundreds of millions of barrels, hundreds of millions. Over 100 million barrels already is in Houston, refined and out. And paid for that war many, many times over. Many times over. You know, the old days, to the victim. Okay? You know that. To the winner belong the spoils. Go the spoils. And I've said, why don't we use it? To the victor, go the spoils.
So you saw right there. I mean, I shouldn't laugh because it's not funny, but like the dude forgot the fucking saying. It's to the victor goes the spoils, and at first he said to the victim go. No, that's the to the winner goes the spoil. Oh, to the victor goes the spoil. We need to enforce the 25th Amendment yesterday. Anybody that still supports this man in Congress, Mike Johnson, Leader Thune in the Senate, y'all are going to have to explain to your grandchildren that you allowed this crazy effing guy to do whatever he wanted. And it's not over. Then, after like the last 2 days of just insane statements, this guy comes out bright and early this morning as I wake up with this statement. Donald Trump writes, a whole civilization will die tonight. Let's stop right there. That is genocide. The President of the United States, a position that used to be synonymous with the quote unquote leader of the free world, is threatening genocide against 90 million Iranians. Now, what does he mean by that statement? Is he threatening nuclear war? Or is he just talking about the power plants and the water desalination plants, which would in effect kill the people of Iran? He further goes on to read, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. I mean, there are so many things. Okay, let's go piece by piece. Here, up here, he says, we've had complete and total regime change. No, we haven't. We killed the supreme leader of Iran, Mr. Khomeini, and we replaced him with his son, Mr. Khomeini. And when we killed the supreme leader, we also killed the current supreme leader's wife. I believe we killed multiple of his children, and obviously we killed his father. So no, and not only that, there are reports that Khomeini is even more radicalized. So when the president of the United States makes statements like this does not prompt the rest of the world to say, yeah, we should definitely stay out of keep our hands off of nuclear weapons. No, This is only going to encourage people to get nuclear weapons, such as Brazil. The president right now, he's being lobbied to essentially indict the president of Brazil as a drug smuggling criminal, which is the same excuse he used to invade Venezuela. Brazil might be looking to build a nuclear weapon now, so to prevent a U.S. invasion. I can't believe that we're here. When Barack Obama wore a tan suit to the White House to some negotiations with the Russian ambassador, Fox News and right-wing media covered that ish wall to wall for almost a month. When Barack Obama ate a hamburger with some Dijon mustard, the Fox News used that as an excuse to say, this guy's not a man of the people. What the hell is wrong with him? Who doesn't eat hamburgers with ketchup? This guy can threaten the death of an entire people. And to Fox News, oh, this is just Trump. But to anybody that acts like this is normal, that this is just how things are supposed to go, oh, this is just typical Trump, fuck you. I mean that with every ember of my soul. Fuck you. You are going to have to explain to your children, to your grandchildren, that you allowed this decrepit, evil human being to have power. Outside of all of this evil, this man has been accused by 25 different women of sexual assault. He was held civilly liable by a jury of his peers for raping E. Jean Carroll. He's openly admitted to dipping his head into the dressing rooms of teenage girls. Matter of fact, let me play that clip.
A past interview with Howard Stern now making headlines. Trump talking about how he had free reign at his beauty pageants.
I'll go backstage before a show. Yes. And everyone's getting dressed and ready. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Today, a former Miss Arizona, who calls herself a conservative, going public in an interview with KCBS, describing what she says happened backstage with Trump at a Miss USA pageant.
Our first introduction to him was when we were at the dress rehearsal and half naked, changing into our bikinis.
Tasha Dixon detailing her discomfort.
To have the owner come waltzing in when we're naked or half naked in a very physically vulnerable position, and then to have the pressure of the people that work for him telling us to go fawn all over him, go walk up to him, talk to him, get his attention.
She describes feeling helpless.
Who do you complain to? He owns the pageant. So there's no one to complain to. Everyone there works for him.
That's the guy who they gave the nuclear launch codes to. All of you Republicans, all of you people that voted for Trump, y'all are going to have to live with this. And what I predict is going to happen after this idiot leaves the White House, people are going to pretend like they didn't vote for Trump. The same thing that happened after Bush. People went in talking about, oh, Al Gore is this and that. He's a goddamn Marxist. Bush is our guy. Bush is gonna drive away the neocon class. We then invaded Iran and Afghanistan. We then got plunged into a recession, which, by the way, it's looking that way, like we're heading towards a recession. And then they just pretended like they didn't vote for Bush. That's what these Trump supporters are gonna do. There is no way to defend this stuff. And then this dude, it's like hilarious. It's like we're in a Chappelle show clip where I have his tweets from 2011 and 12 and 13 up. And let me let my brother AC up on the panel. But before I go to the tweets, AC, how are you doing, brother? How are you doing today? All right, I'm gonna let my brother AC get himself together.
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's just getting everything set up. I had to take this government phone call basically because there's some stuff that I'm trying to do, and it's opening my eyes to a bunch of other stuff. But I don't want to, steal a thunder or steal a cook. So my day is going great, bro. I'm just ready to catch up and get to the conversation.
Most deaf. I appreciate you so much for coming up here, my co-host. I always appreciate you for coming through. But I was just touching on Donald Trump's threat of genocide against the Iranian people. He's threatened to wipe out the entire civilization. And I was just going into the fact that he's a decrepit and evil human being who's been accused by 25 different women of sexual assault, dipped his head into the dressing rooms of little girls, was civilly adjudicated as a rapist for what he did to Eugene Carroll, was best friends for decades with Jeffrey Epstein, one of, if not the most prolific sexual predators in the history of the United States of America. And we gave this guy the nuclear launch codes. And I was just touching on before you came up how the right and the Republican Party would go after Barack Obama for wearing a tan suit for almost a month. They would just be talking about it for a month, like it was the worst scandal since Watergate. They would talk about this. They would talk about Barack Obama just for putting Dijon mustard on his hamburgers.
Which does taste
Meanwhile,
really
you got
good.
this guy threatening genocide. And I just wanted to quickly put up his tweets from 2011, 2012, and 2013, where he talks about how to get reelected, Barack Obama is going to start a war with Iran. He didn't in 2011. Barack Obama he just keeps saying it year after year. Barack Obama never did it. Barack Obama embraced diplomacy. He got the Iran nuclear deal. Donald Trump crapped all over the Iran nuclear deal, said it was the worst deal in the history of the world. Then he tore it up, which, by the way, between 2015 and 2018, while we had the nuclear deal, and there was all this ranting and raving from the Saudis and the Emiratis and from the Israelis. Oh, Iran is taking that money from the deal and they're using it to pump money into their proxies. They're going to attack Israel and the Gulf states. Between 2015 and 2018, there were zero attacks from the Houthis, from Hezbollah, and from Hamas on any of these countries. Since the Iran nuclear deal has been torn up, we had October 7th. We've had multiple Israeli invasions into southern Lebanon. We've had Emirati genocides in Sudan. I'm just really stunned right now. And before I kick it to you, AC, to get your comments and your thoughts on these posts, we're also hearing reports the UAE wants to force open the Strait of Hormuz and is willing to join the fight, and that they're currently preparing for an invasion of these three islands, Lesser Tun, Greater Tun, and Abu Masa, which are disputed islands between Iran and the UAE ever since the 1979 Iranian Revolution. So, and after they made that threat, the Houthis then came in and said, if you invade or if you get involved, we will close the Strait of Bab el Mandeb, which is kind of like being used as a safety valve for the Saudis, who are getting at least some of their oil out through there. If they were to do that, AC, it would cause the oil market to only gain. It would cause gas prices to spike to unseen levels never seen before. Right now, diesel is at $5.60 per gallon. The record under Biden was $5.80. And that was when we had 9% inflation. Right now, gas is not the national average for gas per gallon is $4.11. And it's only going to go up. The more we have this crazy, decrepit fucking guy talking about nuking a civilization. Meanwhile, AC, in Israel, Ben Gavir and this talk show, this right-wing talk show, they essentially have a countdown on. And next to this countdown, it's talking about the destruction of its, you can translate it to the destruction of the Iranian dogs. So blatantly genocidal language all over the place. I want to get your thoughts, AC. Let me put the Truth Social back up from what he said earlier today, and then after you touch on that, we're gonna get into the operation that happened this weekend concerning the two lost airmen.
Well, where I am on the genocide of all of this is pretty much where everyone else is that has common sense. Like for me, I'm asking the question, how much more do these Republicans need to see before they say, all right, we thought this experiment with giving him this authoritarian power might result in us co uh, correlating or coalescing. I'm fucking. Excuse me.
Coalescing.
Yeah, coalescing all of everything together into one nice package. That although it it is this authoritarian thing, everyone should be on board just on the mere fact of the social part of it, the economic part of it, and everything else. And it just didn't happen. The experiment is not proven to work because you're dealing with nothing but imbeciles, and when you look at an authoritarian like Putin had many years of understanding government. He's a government agent, uh, and things like that. So he knew how to underwork the inner workings of it and make it work for him. Same thing with Bibi. So when it comes down to Trump, Trump is just the type of person who, if you compliment him, he loves you. And that's not the type of individual that makes for an authoritarian leader that can actually just say, you know what, even though this thing is authoritarian, it still can work under this regime. So, not to say any authoritarian regime is good or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But with them and the experiment they tried to put together with Donald Trump being this wannabe strongman, that you're just not cut from that cloth. You're not him. So now you're trying to escalate it and say, you know, I'm gonna out authoritarian every authoritarian that I can think of, and I'll tell them, I'll wipe your entire country off the face of the earth. And it's just like, all right, if we're supposed to be the shining example at the top of the hill,
The city on the hill.
if you're going to make that type of statement, then as the sitting president, you just said, I tarnished that entire legacy. I just crapped on all of it. And for these Republicans to want to say, all right, if we're going to maintain power and at least try to get someone who's a bit more smart, a bit smarter, maybe more charismatic, and can disguise this with political jargon, what we're actually doing, then it works. Now, the scary part is to say something like this. What if it was a Mitt Romney we're dealing with, or Thomas Massey, who had the same ideologies that wanted to support MAGA? We'd be in serious trouble because number one, we wouldn't be involved in this type of thing. Everything would be coalesced around this country, and just getting all the power and being done in a right manner. You wouldn't have these political prosecutions. It would straight up just be just going after those institutions that challenge the Constitution, and that's where we would be in trouble. But we're lucky in a certain sense. We're dodging a huge bullet because this dude is an imbecile, and everyone he has around him are imbeciles or sold they self to become an imbecile just to fit in, just to get an IG fit in. So that's kind of where I am with it. It's an old stupid dude trying to play a role that don't nobody buy. Like, you know, you're not gonna bomb Iran
But
because
by the way, if even I like we have this thing, AC, where like the DOJ or the media, they'll say, "Oh, don't blame the military guy just following the orders. Blame the president or the person in charge or the political leadership." I mean this right now. I support the men and women in uniform. My father served in the Navy. He served in Desert Storm, and he served in the invasion of Iraq. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If any of these service members or commanders follow these orders to bomb these power plants and these water desalination plants, they need to go to jail.
period. Yeah,
Whoever is the next president, they need to be prosecuted. We cannot continue to live in this legacy of World War II, where in the Pacific you had naval commanders giving orders to machine gun Japanese survivors in the waters, and in the Battle of the Ardennes when they were invading Germany, there were multiple massacres, and there's even clips of old war veterans saying that they got direct orders from headquarters saying leave no SS soldiers alive, and they follow those orders and they brag about it to this day. I mean it to the bottom of my heart. If any of these service members follow these orders, they need to go to prison for the rest of their lives. And I mean that.
but that's where this is the junction that the country is in. This is why I'm against all of these little micro litmus tests and stuff like that coming up to this election. Just try to find out the source of it and say, why now? It makes no sense right now. Everything should be about policy. Everything should be about getting this country back to its standing. We're not going to go through a civil war between two different parties, each party wrapped up in their own civil war because one has a stupid litmus test. That's what's gonna mess everything up. So the point is right now, coalesce, get your game plans, look at what's going, take notes, and say, okay, the minute the first bullet goes out, the minute this goes out, we're holding hearings. And once we start to hold these hearings, we're taking names, dates, birthdays, the whole 9 yards. And when we get back in power, you will be back before this committee hearing, and we will have, the proper people installed so we can make all of these criminal referrals.
Not only that, the Supreme Court, because I have a feeling, I really have a feeling, AC, the Democratic Party might get to 60 Senate seats this upcoming November. I really have a feeling that they're going to dominate. If we get to that 67, which I'm not betting on it, but I don't see how any Republican running for reelection is going to be able to win defending this type of policy and platform. If we get to 67 seats, not only do I want him and his entire administration impeached, the Supreme Court that gave this man immunity, because AC, if he does this and gives these orders, he has immunity because this is an official act as the president of the United States. It's an official act to order the military to bomb civilians.
And
If
see,
so,
we,
the Supreme Court, I want them impeached too. All six
the
conservative members.
the
I don't give a
issue
F.
the issue with in what you're saying right now, and that's just the older person in me to remember that there's just a caveat right there. There's an elephant in the room in that statement right there, and that's the Supreme Court gave Donald Trump all of this power in the capacity of it being within the presidential duties. So if this is going to be classified in the presidential duties, then there is very little that can be done to Donald Trump because this falls in the preview of what the Supreme Court has already established with him. So as long as he keeps doing stuff like this, it's going to be hard to make the argument to those guys over there that, hey, listen, this may have that appearance, but I know it isn't, and how long do you guys want to lose? This is why you have this mass exodus of right now the count is something like 30 potential Republicans who are not coming back.
Yep.
So that's telling you, and you listen to them across the board, they're like, I'm just not running to stay in Congress and be on the losing team for so many election cycles because of the damage that's being done right now. So they already know. And this is why they're getting out of Dodge right now. It's everyone that's left. And that's why I'm saying coalesce, get everything where you need it to be. Make sure you have everything. And I don't doubt it because, you know, while people are trying to complain about the Democrats, you know, Jamie Raskin just exposed, Donald Trump's what he's doing as far as that
The
peace
Board of
committee.
Peace.
Yeah, that committee right there. And
It's just
it
so fucking ironic. I mean, oh my god.
yeah, and it's just a crazy money laundering scheme. So that has nothing to do with presidential duties. So if you're watching and you're saying, all right, we can't get him for this because he's going to argue this and this is going to be a Supreme Court and then this is going to get dragged out. We got to go after him for the things that are not that. When you attack those people in the international waters and stuff like that, that's just straight murder. That's not within the capability of presidential duties because then you pardon someone else. So within those scopes of things like that, that's what you go after. And
Absolutely.
when
Good.
when when they have everything together, then you put all of those criminal referrals together, which will probably won't happen until 2028. Once the Democrats take the House and everything else, and maybe then they'll get to that point where they have all of those Senate seats and stuff like that. So now the Democrats can, like once once we have a solid person that says, you know what, I don't give a shit about improprieties, and excuse my language on that one, but I really don't care about, you know, the appearance, like Merrick Garland was so afraid of the appearance of so many things.
The most
No,
ginormous pussy in the history of the United States of
no
America.
one, absolutely no one is above the law. And as long as I'm not appointing special counsels, I'm going after you myself. So there is no whatever, whatever.
Put
And you
Jack Smith on their ass.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, we get somebody like that or someone like that is appointed, then boom, now everyone could woosah, take that deep breath and say, okay, now we know these people are not going to get away with this because we got the right men on the job. The president is just letting that person do their job because the president doesn't have to say anything or direct anyone in any direction. I appointed you because you've already identified the problems. You've already got the paperwork done. So I don't need to say nothing. And hopefully that's what happens. But I think it's going to take between the midterms and the general for the Democrats to actually fully take back the Senate. I think they'll get some Republican votes this time around if you want to impeach or remove Donald Trump, and I think they'll rather 25th Amendment Donald Trump than let him go through, three impeachments.
I mean, that they might, but it takes. It's like impeachment is different from 25th Amendment because the 25th Amendment you need 290 votes in the House instead of just 50 plus one. Whereas, yeah, you could just do the 50 plus one and then get the 67 in the Senate and get him out of there. Now, I pray to God that happens. I don't foresee it happening. Um, but I pray to God it does. And all of these people, whoever comes in next, because I have a feeling, AC, this guy is so decrepit and stupid and just 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 a bad human being. I have a feeling he's not gonna pardon any of these people. Because he just fired Pam Bondi and he fired Kristi Noem. And there's word he's about to fire Howard Lutnick and Tulsi Gabbard as well. I really have a feeling he's not going to pardon any of these people. But I just wanted to touch on the blatantly genocidal language coming out of the quote unquote leader of the free world. It is disgusting that this is the times we living in, but we're going to take our country back. This guy is not going, because it's like you said, we're not dealing with an Adolf Hitler. We're not dealing with an intellectual. We're dealing with an imbecile.
Yeah.
Okay? An intellectual would not have expended all this political capital before he was able to destroy the democratic institutions that hold him in check. This guy is just a dummy, and his brain is pudding.
And I think
But
you just said it better than possibly my long-winded explanation of what we're actually dealing with. So kudos on that.
absolutely. But AC, through the past couple of weeks, Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, the Pentagon, they have been claiming victory. Then this past weekend, we had not one but two combat jets, combat fighter jets get shot down. The first one was an F-15 that got shot down in Iranian territory. Thankfully, both pilots were rescued. The first one was rescued relatively quickly, and the second one, it took at least a day. He hiked up a mountain and then hit himself in the crevice of some rocks. It was a whole crazy operation where the CIA, and by the way, once again, salute to our men and women in uniform. I have nothing but the utmost respect and honor when it comes to those people. They are some of the best people you will ever meet. Some of the most high integrity people. Not all of them, but a good, decent amount of them. And they genuinely believe in the mission and the cause of humanity, serving the people of the United States, serving and protecting the people of the United States of America. It's just unfortunate that they have an utterly evil and incompetent commander in chief. But on top of the F-15 being shot down, we also had an A-10 Warthog, which is essentially it's a one pilot, a one crew Gatling gun that's attached to a jet. It was shot down. Thankfully, the pilot managed to make it out of Iranian territory and ditched and ejected in the Gulf. But also we had, and then also two Black Hawk helicopters were shot down, or excuse me, not shot down, but they were heavily damaged during search and rescue operations for the second pilot. This came after Donald Trump for weeks was saying that the Iranian military has been destroyed. They can't fight back. We own the airspace. We're flying 50-year-old B-52 bombers over. And then we have, in the space of basically 2 days, 4 aircrafts get shot down. And then AC, 2 more, I can't remember exactly what type of aircrafts they were, but I think they were carrier planes and surveillance planes that got damaged by Iranian fire. And then the special forces operators that went to rescue the second pilot, they had to essentially destroy those planes to prevent them from falling in, to prevent the technology from falling into Iranian hands. And then Iran came out with a report that essentially that there was a skull inside of the wreckage of one of those planes, and that the U.S. was hiding its casualty count. This is now being backed up, AC, by reporting. This is an article coming out from the Intercept, talking about the casualty cover-up that's going on at the Pentagon. That the Pentagon is currently right now reporting that there's been 13 deaths and 200 wounded service members in this war. The Intercept is reporting from their analysis that that is a gross undercount, that there is at the very least 315 wounded service members and no less than 15 dead service members that they're currently covering up. And not only that, a lot of those attacks from the Iranians that they tried to undermine, the embassy in, I believe, Qatar, that was bombed, and they said it wasn't that serious. It got hit by a drone, but it was just a little fire that was only closed off to essentially the CIA part of the building, that where the CIA does its operations and does its intelligence gathering. We now find out from this article that the fire actually raged for several hours, and that many of these bases, such as the naval base in Kuwait, that was bombed on the first day of the war, where you had 6 service members die, it's now uninhabitable. You have service members that are currently staying in Gulf hotels because the base is uninhabitable and it's being bombed day and night by drones. So this on top of the fact, and one more thing, this on top of the fact, Al Jazeera is reporting that U.S. satellite firms, specifically this one, Planet Labs, they're doing a blackout. And then we had Donald Trump in that press conference from yesterday where he was just sounding like a drunken fool, talking about that we're going to arrest the journalist that spoke to the leaker who leaked what happened to the pilots. We're going to arrest them. So right now we have in full effect state censorship of this war that's having American tax dollars and American lives wasted. This on top of the fact China and Russia and Russian satellite firms, their satellites are still up and in full effect and open to the public. Not only that, these Chinese and Russian firms are feeding intelligence to the Iranians to continue bombing us over there in the Gulf and in our other bases. Also, we just had an American journalist was kidnapped by Iran-backed Iraqi militias. Thankfully, and I praise God, she was released. At this current moment, it's being reported that she is fine. They did not torture her. They did not humiliate her or do anything else to her. I praise God for that. But then we later find out, AC, the U.S. did not even negotiate her. Did not negotiate her release. It was the Iraqi government. Donald Trump essentially just didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a F because it's a journalist that doesn't talk well about him. Any thoughts on this? Well, before you go, I want everybody to be very awake and aware to what is happening right now. We are this close to getting pulled out of NATO, whether it be by this retarded Republican, excuse me for using that word, but by this dumb Republican Congress, or whether it be by this just illegal president who's just going to put out an executive order. And then what's going to happen, AC, is the courts will probably say, well, we don't rule on matters of foreign affairs. That's the executive branch's purview. I want everybody to be very awake and aware to what is happening right now. We could potentially have, and this Intercept article is reporting, we could potentially have up to 70 dead service members right now that they're hiding from us.
Well,
be very aware of what's going on. Go ahead, AC. Let me get your thoughts.
For me, I look at it like,
and salute to Choco Kitty.
To me, I look at it like this. On 2 different spectrums. Okay, or we're hearing reports of them hiding counts. For me, I would like to see the pilots on American soil. Give me confirmation. Don't tell me, because the same thing where he didn't want people to see, and he wanted the news to stop reporting on ICE. Now you don't want people to find out this, and you don't want to. So you're actively fudging the numbers and trying to give us the appearance that things are far better, or you're doing far better than what you actually are. So in those type of instances, I'm just like, I just want to see confirmation. Let me see these people on American soil, coming out of the military helicopter and knowing that they're safe, things like that, or whatever, just confirmation. We're looking at them wanting to hide the numbers of American soldiers who were killed. Um, that's the egregious part of it, because no one asked for this war. You campaigned on no new wars and stuff like that, and now this thing is going so south for you that you're actively telling military to, if it's 5 that are gone, tell us it's 1. If it's 10 that's gone, tell us it's 2. So you're giving us a ratio of what is actually being said. And just to, if we look at it, the pattern
Not
is
not only that, AZ, I hate to cut you off, but this is not the first time this would have happened in U.S. history. This
no, it's
literally
not.
happened in Vietnam.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting ready to bring up, that there have been past presidents who've done this same exact thing, and it didn't go well for those presidents. This is what caused, you know, massive protests and massive movements and stuff like that, because people realized that, okay, this is a war we didn't ask for. You're sending our young people over there to die for some vanity project, and now you're not even going to be honest about who's uh being unalived over there. Well, if that's a family member for mine, my family member deserves a proper burial. I deserve my military reparations as a wife or whatever of this person. So the mere fact that you don't want to disclose some of these people's or large amounts of these people passing, what happens to those families who are eligible for all of these programs and they want the proper burials for their people if they haven't heard from them? And I'm quite sure they may be getting letters or video calls, and all of a sudden they stopped, and now these people are, their family members or spouses are asking, okay, what happened to this person? In the military as well, I don't know, they're out on duty and they're in patrol in an area where communication, and you just lying to these people. That's the heart-wrenching part of it. So this is why people need to take this a little bit more serious than just say, yeah, I think it's that. Okay, so if it is that, then what about these family members who have a right to know that their spouse or family member has passed on, and they're struggling right now in the U.S. trying to put food on the table and figure out what's going on. I wouldn't put it past at least 1 or 2 out of the 70 has a brand new, child that they're raising, or a couple of children that they're raising all alone while their partner is deployed. And now there's no word, and you still have to deal with these, 2 small babies. Like, come on, man. That type of stuff is heart wrenching. It's heart wrenching. It would make homegrown terrorists. So, yeah, it this is
I would
this
go as far to call it evil.
it is pure evil. There is no, I don't know what. I think it's even more worse than evil, because you have someone out there that's trying to figure out something because their spouse or family member chose to put their life on the line to protect the liberties of this country. That's what they chose before then. Then you send them to a war that makes no sense.
All for Israel.
So, at where are we? How do you justify that to that family? Like, these are the type of people that should get some sort of reparation for all of this, much more than just everything that would normally come with it. Like, I don't know how you make that right with these families. I don't know how to make that right. And then moving forward, how does that affect the ability of young people wanting to join the military moving forward? And
Yeah,
that
this on top of the fact that AC, they're about to propose a $1.5 trillion budget for the U.S. military for the year of 2027. And I just want to put this in context. If you were to take the next 15 highest defense spending countries in the industrial world, China, China, Russia, the UK, all of them, and put them together, AC, it still amounts to only $1.2 trillion. And all of those countries have free health care. They have caps on their prescription drug prices for their citizens. We don't have none of that in this country. And now we have perhaps genuine allegations of fraud on the part of the Pentagon by covering up these numbers of casualties. Absolutely the F not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And like, if any Republican votes for Mike Johnson, I've lost any hope. There's no human being in Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is an absolute robot. He is a robot designed to do whatever Donald Trump tells him to do. If any of these Republicans vote for that budget, because they're saying they're going to do it in reconciliation, so they don't have to deal with the filibuster. You should just retire. You should just resign, because you know you're not going to get reelected at all whatsoever. But AC, before we move on from the Iran war completely, Lindsey Graham, I'm struggling to find the word, because I mean, it's just like, no matter where you look, AC, there's disgusting human beings in the Republican Party. I want to play this clip of Lindsey Graham quickly.
And we're going to win.
All
Israel
right,
and the United States, you just wait to see what comes in the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks, meaning what?
We're going to blow the hell out of these people. This regime is in a death row now. It is going to be on its knees. It's going to fall. And when it falls, we're going to have peace like no other time. We're going to have prosperity unlike anyone could ever imagine. Peace brings prosperity. You can't do it by talking. The Democrats criticize this operation. They didn't do a damn thing. These men and women in the military should make us all proud.
So that's South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. By the way, Lindsey Graham, for years, he doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have any children. For years, he's been accused of being a closeted homosexual. I mean, you heard it right there. He said, we're going to blow the hell out of these people. They're going to be on their knees. They're going to be shaking. We're going to have peace like never before. And I just want to bring this picture up. This is a really old school meme from all the way back in 2000. It's called Holding Blood Feast. And you see what it says. It's a 118-year-old Republican from Iowa saying, please, God, let us just nuke Iran. Nothing else matters. I'll do anything. Please, I just want to see burning flesh one last time before I die. That's who Lindsey Graham is. That's who he is. And then it says at the bottom, respectable bipartisan Republican. These are the neocons. They care about nothing else than blood, destruction, carnage, devastation. Lindsey Graham, and by the way, Mike Pence, everybody, history is going to remember Mike Pence as some good character because he refused to listen to Donald Trump when Donald Trump told him not to certify the victory for Joe Biden. Mike Pence, to this day, says that the invasion of Iraq was a great thing. After 1 million dead bodies, the destruction of Iraq civilization, and then the birth of ISIS, Mike Pence to this day still says that the invasion of Iraq is a good thing. This is who these people are. They're holding blood feast. Then, AC, before I let you come in, this man, Lindsey Graham, was caught at Disney World by himself. This man does not have any children. And then in his hand, you see a Little Mermaid wand. This man does not have any children. He doesn't have a wife. He's just there by himself. Then a couple days later, he tries to come out with this clip talking about spent some time breaking clays in Edgefield County today. Doesn't get much better than that. Dude, shut the fuck up. You are a punk. Somebody should really, I don't advocate for violence, but if anybody needs their ass whooped, it's Lindsey Graham. This man will come out and say, I'm sending our sons and daughters from I'm asking our sons and daughters from South Carolina to die so we can protect our brothers and sisters in Israel. They're trying to put another Holocaust on the people of Israel. Dude, just go crawl in a fucking hole and die. Leave us alone. I'm so sick and tired of these people. But AC, let me get your thoughts on this allegedly closeted homosexual Lindsey Graham going to
Man,
Disney World in the middle of a war by
listen,
himself.
if Lindsey Graham lived in my hood, his hood name or street name would be Closet. Because everybody know who you are. We just waiting for you to come out. So we all gonna call you Closet. We may get funny and call you bedroom closet, hallway closet, kitchen closet, but you a closet, bro, period. So just accept that. And he would walk around and accept that. And at the end of the day, you look at this dude and you say to yourself, what is the need for the overcompensation? What is it that you're compensating for? Because all of a sudden you're so into all of this cruelty of this administration. Now, if we take what you're saying now and compare that to Lindsey Graham, who was here during the Obama administration, the Lindsey Graham that, was just any other time of Lindsey Graham. Yeah, you said some crazy stuff, but you weren't with the cruelty. Take Lindsey Graham when Donald Trump started to run. Look at what he said about him, and then to look at everything that you're saying now, it's like, bruh, you disgust me. You're a disgusting, vile human being, and you're showing some weirdo-ness when you find yourself a whole grown-ass 50, 60-something year old dude at Disney World by yourself. That's my issue. Like, okay, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't see you in a Disney hat and just looking like you're just enjoying the park festivities. If you're in a suit by yourself at Disney World, something wrong, something really, really wrong. So where I'm at with Lindsay is, you just always gave off weirdo vibes to me. Just the type of stuff that I wouldn't leave you in the room with any young males, because I don't know what you're capable of. So that's where I leave Lindsey Graham in.
By the way, AC, I think that I can't confirm this, but I think I read in an article Lindsey Graham was great friends with that athletic doctor from Ohio State that raped over 200 young boys. So imagine that you had 200 teenagers, 18-year-olds, probably never been to a doctor's appointment without their parents, and this Ohio State doctor took advantage of them. And Lindsey Graham was I can't say, he was allegedly best friends with that guy.
Yeah,
That tells you all you need to know about these people.
exactly. And like I said,
Sandusky, thank you, Choco Kitty. Dr. Sandusky.
yeah, and like I've said way back, before, I said, listen, the Republican Party throughout, through throughout their history in modern times have been the party of every sort of sexual deviant behavior that you can think of. Now, in that area, the Democrats have proven that it's just not one, it's bipartisan behavior, but on average, the Republicans
Yeah, per
lead that
capita.
charge. Yeah, if it was a per capita argument, it wouldn't even be close. You know
Oh,
what I'm
forgive
saying?
me, Chuck. Okay, Sandusky was the coach. He was the coach. My bad.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it says, okay, even the allegations, if the allegations are strong enough, the Democrat Party is just going to get rid of you. The Republican Party will double down on you. That's the biggest difference. And I don't.
They literally have a guy, Representative Tony Gonzalez from Texas, who was taking advantage of one of his campaign staffers. And she told him, and he was asking her for pictures, saying anal question mark, and she's saying, "Whoa, this is too far, please, boss." Then, after he got everything he wanted, he started docking her pay. He demoted her, and then she committed suicide by setting herself on fire. And then the text messages were exposed, and for weeks he just refused to not even address it until finally he admitted, "Yeah, I had an affair with this lady," and he's still in Congress.
Yeah.
He's not censored. He's not censured. He's not being impeached. He's not resigning. I think he might even still be running for re-election. And let my brother Boxer Scholar up here. Boxer Scholar, how you doing today?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Salute the Sir File Player.
Okay. What's good? What's good, AC? What's good, Marky Dan?
What's good,
I'm on the way to work, man. I had to hit the link and chop it up with y'all, man. Look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. I'm starting to lose a little bit of my sanity witnessing the insanity. Cause you be thinking like, bro, we always had like a little inkling that there was an elite party and they get to do whatever they want. But it was called a secret society, which means it was hidden in plain sight. This group of motherfuckers do whatever they want to do when they want to do it with no repercussions. Like when Trump comes out and speaks, bro, I'm like, you know what I mean? Get my little stress toy out. Like, you're being recorded. We don't need ICE. You know, they're scared to immigrate. Well, wait a minute. I could have swore about a month or two ago, we were witnessing ICE murder American citizens. Why were they occupying democratic states if immigrants are scared of you? Then the war is over. Then the war has just begun. You just can't make this up, bro. This is, oh man. Like I said, I'm losing my insanity trying to keep up. And then you could always find one Trump supporter, almost like that comedian, what's his name, Tommy Davis in Juwanna Man, when he found out Juwanna Man was a man. And he was like, Juwanna, I still love you. That's how they be with Donald Trump. Like, even after he proves that he doesn't give a damn about them, that he's elitist, that he's everything that we thought he was, they still show up in support. You can't make it up, bro. We are living in real times of the largest cult we've ever seen in American history.
We have one in the chat. The Sir File Player is calling this a liberal venting session while this man threatens the genocide of an entire civilization. I mean, Sir File Player, listen, I appreciate the support, but just shut the fuck up, dude. You like the guy. You're a Republican. You're a Trump supporter. Just shut the fuck up. There is no comparison to this on the Democratic side at all whatsoever. Like, not even a little bit. Find me Barack Obama threatening to destroy an entire civilization. Nah, fuck you. I'm not letting you come up on my panel, Sir File Player. Absolutely. I don't got time for that shit. He gonna come up here and talk about, oh, but remember Biden? When he took away the student loans. Oh, you remember when Biden's daughters and her died? Shut the fuck up. We're talking about this guy threatening to destroy an entire civilization. And then we have closeted punk Lindsey Graham going to Disney World as a 60-year-old man by himself. Go ahead, Scholar, before I move on to the next topic.
Yo, there's a Pinocchio scene in the movie that Joe Rogan went viral for, where he was talking about the weirdness of, he was like, the boys, they don't come back as boys, right? That's what Lindsey Graham reminds me of. He even looks like that guy. I wonder if it was based off of his if it's a biography, a biopic with Lindsey Graham. But no, Sir Fat Player, yeah, we don't got time, bro. When we have immediate threats, and I mean, this is actually what it is. It's exigent circumstances. We don't have time to dig up Abraham Lincoln or talk about Barack Obama or any of that stuff and spend time educating you or defending you, bro. It's like, there's no way to justify this stuff, bro. No way to justify it. Now, like, to be a person that campaigns on, they love me so much. They called me, look, I'm not lying. They called me and offered me the Nobel Peace Prize. The person that won it said that I should get it. But you're threatening war. Threatening war. Then Donald Trump had the nerve to say that Putin is afraid of him. He told him. Bro, you cannot make this up, bro. And you want to hear the irony of the whole situation? Joe Biden, towards the end of his presidency, was like, everybody, Joe Rogan coined the phrase that he was flickering like a light bulb. Well, somebody tied the oldest age for a president, and that guy was Donald Trump. And around the age that Joe Biden was starting to deteriorate, Donald Trump is now approaching that age, and he looks like he's deteriorating too as well. And they're just whistling past the graveyard with Donald Trump. It's like the level of hypocrisy you cannot make up, bro. You cannot even, like, bro, I couldn't write this that good. You know what we're living in? That movie, Don't Look Up? Is that what it's called? Don't Look Up. It was on Netflix. This is what we're living right now. Like, we're living in a spoof, like an alternate reality. Like, he still has people that defend him. And you know what's crazy, Marky Dam? There's this girl who was an avid Republican, always talking about the Democrats, the demons, the all this old weird stuff, right? So I check her channel out now, right? Because I want to see what she has to say.
Now, Sir File Player says Iran can melt tonight, and he's still better than. But man, Sir File Player, good night. Yeah, come back tomorrow. Come back another time I have a stream.
Get you some sleep. Get you some sleep.
Sleep, get you some sleep, brother.
Yeah, sleep deprivation is.
Yeah, I don't have time for the nonsense, Sir File Player. Goodbye. Go ahead, Scholar.
There's this girl I follow, Marky, and she's an avid Trump supporter, blah blah blah, et cetera, right? And she, I look at her content now because I want to know what she's gonna say now. And you know what? It's the same. The Trump's greatest hits. Oh, Chicago immigration. Who gives a fuck about immigration when you're fill up your tank? You really care about immigration? I thought y'all were voting for the price of eggs. Eggs are even up. Like, wake the fuck up. Nobody cares. That enemy that they told y'all existed, it does not exist. The enemy was the rich people that Donald Trump told you he was going to get rid of. But yeah, he got rid of them and promoted them in his cabinet. Like he drained the swamp and filled it with salt water, because that's what alligators need to prosper. And Donald Trump it's sad, bro. It's really sad. Not for him. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's doing his job as a rich person, how they function. He said it the other day. They said, Donald Trump, they asked, I can't remember the context of the question, but he said, because I'm a businessman. This is business. He can't see anything. He can't see past business and dollars. And like this whole idea that we have to vote for people who are good at business to be a president is the stupidest thing in the world, because most of the rich people in America live off subsidies from poor people in America. Rich people are not as smart as people would like to paint them to be. They just get lucky. They get lucky and inherit some wealth, or get lucky and be in the right circles, and they mooch off the government and mooch off of poor people. Go look at Wall Street. Look at all the people who are really successful.
I mean, Scholar, did you know what I found out yesterday? And this is amazing because I'm actually trying. I got a 16 quarter lot development that I'm trying to start selling some of those lots. I found out, and I found this out through looking at the Jews, specifically the Hasidic Jews in upstate New York. I found out that Section 8 will actually pay for you to buy a house and buy land. And essentially how it works is you can essentially as long as you're not working and your wife is maybe pulling in like 50%, like less than the medium income of the state, they're gonna pay for you to they're gonna pay the mortgage. That's how these Jews get so rich.
Yeah.
And
So yeah,
nobody talks about it. But they'll talk about the single mother and oh, she needs to stop having so many kids. Get rid of SNAP. Let those kids starve. What's wrong with you people? Be more This is the pro-life party, by the way. And salute to my brother Scholar. Excuse me, my brother Prize in the chat. But they have no problem when they do it.
pro life. Whose life? Whose life are they pro? That's the real question. Because they talking about genocide right now, like it's like it's eating grapes.
Yeah, but moving on to the next topic, Sal. Before you gotta go, I really want to get your reaction to this, Scholar. So Kristi Noem was fired, I believe, just about a month ago. It is now on top of all the other scandals about her, excuse me, buying 2 private jets with taxpayer dollars, and then screwing her subordinate Corey Lewandowski on those private jets, allegedly, quote unquote. It has now been exposed by the Daily Wire tabloids. Her husband, Bryon Noem, that's a real picture. Her husband, Bryon Noem, is a cross-dresser. And he was going onto these different fetish sites and essentially paying $25 an hour to have some women talk dirty to him. This is not the only picture, Scholar. There's so many of them. You got this picture. Look at them titties, them fake titties. And look at him pursing up his lips like he's a bad bitch. Then you got these pictures. You got more. I mean, now you got like some flat bottom titties. You got these. I mean, you got these. Hold on, where is it? There it is. There's so many of them.
Marky Dan,
This is Bryon Noem.
you don't see the good
What
news
you
in
say?
this. You don't see the good news
What?
in this. We finally know who
What?
Bubba is.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Like, this is just too embarrassing. On top of the fact that Donald Trump has also been exposed potentially for being involved in some homosexual activity. Hold on a second. Obviously, you see Bryon Noem right here, while Kristi Noem refused to answer whether or not she was screwing with Corey Lewandowski on private jets. SNL has also had some good old fun with this. And the Daily Mail, they're like a mid-level media corporation. If they could find this stuff, Boxer Scholar, you're telling me the Chinese Communist Party couldn't find it? You're telling me the Israelis couldn't find it? You're telling me that the Russians couldn't find this stuff? And then on top of the fact, like, think about the fact that Kristi Noem has no integrity. If they walked up to her and said, listen, if you don't do X, Y, and Z and funnel X, Y, and Z dollars to X, Y, and Z account, we're going to release that your husband is a cross-dressing fudge packer and a cuckold on top of that. And this lady has no integrity. She would fold. She would not have the integrity to resign and then just take the exposing. But I want to get your thoughts. Let me come to AC first. AC, what's your thoughts on? Oh no! I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. This is not the only cross-dresser that's been exposed. JD Vance has been exposed as a cross-dresser. This is JD Vance back when he was in college. You see him right there in that wig and in a dress looking like he's a bad bitch with a choker around his neck. That's
I
not the
mean,
only fault. You look at him playing with the wig, and in response, his staffer only had one response. JD put on a bad wig at a party in college. Not exactly scandalous. That's it. That's the
well,
only
I mean,
response we've
to
had
be
since then.
fair, to be fair,
You cannot make this up.
To be fair, it was college. He was experimenting, but he found himself a good couch. You know,
Man,
he
they were
went to
probably
Big Lots
experimenting in
Furniture.
his booty hole. Let's be honest.
Oh, no, we're not going to do that market there. He went to Big Lots
They were
Furniture.
packing fudge.
He found him a nice couch, and he stuck it in, and it's been blissful ever since. So that man, I'm not going to shame that
Whoa.
man on his journey.
I'm just no, but I'm gonna shame him because he might be a closeted, you know what, and then he's
Oh, where's
bashing people who are
mascara?
open with their homosexuality.
He wears fucking eyeliner or something. Like he looks like a goth chick. Like, of course he's weird. They're all weird, bro. Erica Kurt, they all be. You know what's funny? We had to watch the FBI storm Diddy's house, tip over his dog bowls. You know what I mean? And then just every day we had to hear freak off, freak off, freak off. And then we see these freaky ass 69 guy motherfuckers every day on the TV with a new scandal, bro. And nobody has used the word freak off once. They getting freaky on helicopters and stuff, bro. They on jets. They on government. They on government assistance having freak offs.
You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. You cannot. This man, look at this man. He thinks he's a bad bitch. Come through, AC. Come through.
Well, basically, I'm like, okay, all right. This train wreck is like, at this point, I'm asking, how long is this train? Because we still haven't gotten to the end of this train wreck. Like, what are we dealing with here? A 17, 20, 30-mile train? Because it's like train wreck after train wreck after train wreck. It says this, okay, Shorts. First of all, you made yourself look really weird when you got the MAGA plastic surgery to your face. Then you're cheating on your
and
husband.
they all have it, AC. They all have that Botox.
Yeah, exactly. And now you're cheating with the guy who we have on film hitting a female, and then trying to Karen it up and say, well, she swung at me first. So
what are you talking about? Who hit a female?
Corey Lewandowski.
Oh, yeah. I remember. That's why Ben Shapiro said he didn't support Trump I remember that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you have that dynamic. Now you have this plastic surgery chick having an affair with this person on a taxpayer jet that they installed a big bed with. You know, at some point, when was it a cuckold situation, much like Stephen Miller? Like, so you claim that you're cleaning up the swamp, but you invited all the swamp water in with the gators and water moccasins and all the other vile reptiles. So the point I'm saying is this: looking at her, looking at what she done, looking at her behavior, wouldn't we kind of expect that the husband would be weird like this? Am I wrong, or am I also getting
No.
same...
You're absolutely 1,000% right. You're 1,000% right. Because this bitch is a psychopath. I mean, she killed a puppy.
Is this the same woman who was in the movie theater or the play, and then her son was in some weird stuff? So you were supposed to be out on a date as a married woman, getting fondled in a theater. So I'm just like, okay, you were on a date, so weren't you married at that point? What are we doing here? How does that woman bounce back? How does now she get this position? And then everything else is like, wow, Shorts. You mean to tell me you didn't know that this was your man and you're married? So go ahead with that.
She probably made this man put on a dress and sit in the corner while her and Corey did what they did. Let's be honest. She probably got him into that fetish shit. with these big ass
Exactly.
fake titties.
Exactly. And that's why when you even bring up the plastic chick, you look like you was home, but you home or in a hotel room, topless and involved in that nonsense that was going on in your life, and you're married. So
For those of you who don't know what AC is talking about, my delegate to Congress for the Virgin Islands, Stacey Platt, this was a long time ago, AC, when I was like 16 years old in high school. It came out like a bunch of different pictures of her and her husband naked, and her husband was wearing makeup, women's makeup and panties. And then there was a photo of their toddler like walking in the room as she's instructing him, like, and the toddler was naked, and as she's instructing him all this weird, crazy shit to do. And now we have the context of her going to Epstein Island and taking money from Epstein. Go ahead.
so the point I'm saying is that okay, some married couples get into weird stuff because the marriage gets stale or whatever the case may be. But when you're at that level, when you're political figures like that, or even musicians like that, Janet Jackson, Missy Elliott, Tweet, all of y'all, you know what I'm saying? When you get involved in all of this weirdness, then everything in the dark doesn't stay in the dark. It will eventually come out in the light because you did this with other people, and you don't know what their motivation is to expose this, or how it's linked to something else nefarious that they may be involved with. So it's just like, hey man, I don't rock like that. I don't get down with that weirdo stuff, and I don't know how you get there. You know what I'm saying? I definitely don't know how people get there. So I leave that to their own weirdness of the dynamics of their marriage, and being that it's out. And yeah, it's embarrassing for you right now. It was embarrassing for Bill Clinton to get caught out there knowing that he was getting top and stuff like that in the Oval Office. And it's just like,
Getting
come
that
on,
Glock.
bro. Come on, bro. We all know he ain't the first president. Look at the Kennedys. You got all them pretty ass
Absolutely.
women. Like you ain't gonna tell me Barack ain't smashed Michelle up in one of
Man,
those
FDR
offices.
was bringing in broads by the dozen from Venezuela and Cuba.
Exactly, bro. I'm like, come on, man. Bill Clinton was just the first one caught doing it.
Bill
You,
Clinton
you
was
know what I'm
actually
saying?
blowing Trump in the office, I think.
So for me, it's just like, hey, listen, people. I don't know if I could put it past anyone, because if I'm in that position and I got that much power and I got a dime wife piece, I'm gonna be like, hey, Shorts, listen, we got this room clear for like a good hour. Let's throw down a nice little quickie, make some memories. You know what I'm saying? It's the Mile High Club, so it's got to be the White House Club. I don't put it past any president. You know what I'm saying? I don't put it past any president. I just don't. Power, you want to do freaky stuff in weird places because it adds to the excitement. You don't want to be no uptight person and all of this other kind of stuff, man. Like, nah, then you're
Yo,
not
yo,
Absolutely.
personable.
yo, AC, you know what blows my mind about these people though? Like, I've had jobs before where, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you bend the rules a little bit. You know what I mean? You might take some toilet paper home. You might the level of boldness
Yeah,
of
I've
these
been there.
assholes. The level of boldness of these assholes is sickening, bro. Like, they will do the fact that he has these pictures out here. If you're gonna do some freak offs, if you a 69 guy, don't let them take pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you understand you're a public official, right? You're in the spotlight. You know that people are gonna use that. Why give them ammunition to use against you in your political career? Like, that is stupid. Like, and you're not a rookie. These ain't rookies that do this. Ain't like they 2 years into their political career. These are old people cross-dressing with titties.
and that just goes to the nature of what I'm saying. We've seen this across the board from our favorite actors, sports players, sports news people, Marv Albert, Oscar De La Hoya, you know, that been caught up in these cross-dressing situations and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, man, I say it like this, and I'm not co-signing it. I'm not. If that's what you into to help your marriage or get you, get you off and stuff like that, that's all on you. But why let someone take a photograph of you in that compromising situation? Like, no cameras, leave your cell phones here, put your cell phone in this bowl or in this safe, and we lock this shit up until we done with all of this. You know what I'm saying? And everybody looks decent. Nobody got on no weird makeup or nothing. So I just don't understand how you are involved in stuff like that and you're not taking the proper precautions to make sure this weirdo behavior you're into, it just doesn't, there's nothing traceable but innuendos and hearsay. I mean, I don't know. If I was into something like that, then that's what it would be with me. You know what I'm saying? I'd have a burner computer. I'd have a burner, you know. Um, I go out and I buy Apple cards or whatever, you know, to help me pay for online. Like everything I would do would just leave no traces, zero traces. It's like I'm looking at that like I robbed a bank, you know.
AC, quickly breaking news: Taco Trump has chickened out again. He has announced a 2 week, essentially a 2 week ceasefire by himself. Iran has not agreed to it, but essentially he's saying, I'm not going to do what I threatened to do. So once again, Taco Trump is, and by the way, thank God that he's such a fucking pussy and coward that he does
Because
not have the nuts to do something like that.
it's
Thank
look,
God.
I'm gonna say it like this real quick before we even let what's the name speak on it. The issue is you can't do this. If you do this, everyone in big business, those 6 or 7 AI companies that we're talking about, the longer you do this war, the more and more they lose money. They have to put their plans back on the back burner because they need that crude oil and they need some of those other elements coming out of the Strait of Hormuz to do these new microchips and to manufacture these new microchip deals. Russia, China, Japan, they're gonna start. They've already showed signs that they're losing their patience, and they probably are on the phone with Trump. Like, listen, we just heard that stupid stuff you just said the other night. It's not happening, Donald. Donald, it's not happening. Call this off. You make nice with them, and we're done with all of this. Period. And I think these are the type of serious ultimatums that are going down right now, that the world economics is teetering on what's going on right now. And Trump is now causing other countries, these real strong leaders that have nuclear weapons and hold some of our debt, that they're like, listen, enough's enough with this bull stuff. So you get that together. I don't care how bad it makes you look. You should have never did it in the first place. So I'm happy that those other countries, even though I don't agree with all of their policies, but their economics is tied into our economics, and they're just like coming up and saying, listen, you're not gonna fuck with our money like that. That's the last thing we're gonna let you do.
Not only that, Iran is not going to follow this ceasefire. They're not. Because why the fuck would we stop bombing you motherfuckers and then 2 weeks later, or matter of fact, 2 days later, y'all could just go back to bombing us? Like, nah, I don't believe Iran accepted this ceasefire. But Scholar, you got any thoughts on this before we move on to the Pam Bondi of it all?
I just wanted to say, to all the people out there, I think this proves, why somebody would support the Democratic Party, because they always make it seem like there's no drastic difference between the two, right? Hypocrisy exists in politics, and just by the nature of politics. But where are all the PDF files coming from? Where they coming from? Like all the way from the lowest MAGA January 6er all the way up to the top. These people want to control everything, all the language, every aspect of life, and these people do not live right, and they behind closed doors in their private life. So this is why I would lean to Democrat, because they have hypocrisy, but you don't see it like you don't see it like you do on the Republican side. Like every day I get on
Barack
Instagram.
Obama was a good guy. I genuinely believe that he was a decent person, and he was prosecuting a war against Al Qaeda and ISIS, and he had to kill, and a couple civilians got caught up in that. That's what I genuinely believe. But I don't think Obama had any of this freaky shit. He might have had a
I
little
was about to
side
say,
piece.
even with the war stuff, the crimes and all this stuff, that they try to hold him to that standard. Trump is that times 10, bro. Venezuela, Iran, like just a bunch of stuff that he's doing that doesn't even compare. But like you just said, Barack Obama, besides all the political stuff, was a family man. He don't got no scandals. His kids don't got scandals. He was a good dude. He was a good dude. I hate that the bar is so low because of Donald Trump that Barack Obama looks like Jesus reincarnated. But this is why I don't even know how somebody could identify as a Republican with all the hypocrisy that's circling them. Like in Texas, they have a ban on porn, bro. Literally have a ban on porn. And the people who want to control what you watch and what you consume are cross-dressing, sleeping with kids. Like this is
Bunch of
they're
fudge
sick.
packers.
They're sick. They are sick people. I don't know how anybody could identify as a Republican at this point.
I mean, it's like I said at the beginning of the show, and I've told you multiple times, I've told the AC this multiple times. It's going to be just like after Bush. People are going to pretend that they didn't vote for Trump so that
Yep,
they don't
the
have
Bush
to
effect.
explain to their grandkids how they let this evil human being have power.
Yep, the Bush effect. It's just like Hitler. Like there were people that actually supported Hitler and thought Hitler was a great man, but then they
Yeah,
pretended
that's
like
what
it
they
didn't
call it.
happen.
They call it the Great Forget because
Yep,
people just forget. Like they just act like it didn't happen in Germany.
yep.
But
That's what they're
we're
gonna
gonna
do with
move
Donald
on.
Trump.
What you say,
They gonna
Scholar?
act like they gonna do the exact same thing with Donald Trump. They're gonna act like it never happened. When the next Republican tries to run, they're gonna pretend like Donald Trump. First off, the Democrats gonna win. I don't even know if the Republicans are gonna survive the primaries because this guy is so stupid. Like his polls are already dwindling. Nobody loves him outside of Don Jr. and Sir Foul Player, but like they're getting worse, right?
And
And
Pittsburgh D. And Pittsburgh D. Don't forget Pittsburgh D.
I don't think they're gonna win I don't think they're gonna win the midterms. I think they're gonna get slaughtered. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how
Which,
that
by
goes.
the way, before I move on to Pam Bondi, tonight, this is a race I've been talking a lot about. Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat, where she won by 32 points, and Donald Trump won that district by 37 points in 2024. It is now, tonight is the big showdown, Scholar at AC, and it's looking like Sean Harris, the Democrat, is going to trounce this fucking coward, Clay Fuller. Sean Harris won. Well, he didn't win, but he had the most votes in the first round. Now in the second round in Georgia history, in the history of runoff, excuse me, I should say, in the 21st century for Georgia runoffs, 9 of the 12 people that were leading in the first round went on to win the runoff election. On top of the fact, Republican turnout tends to wane in the runoff election. So this is going to be a bullet to the heart of the Republican Party and the GOP. Like we've had wins in Miami, which didn't elect a Democrat for almost 30 years. We've had wins in Palm Beach, the district that Mar-a-Lago is in, that swung for Trump by 16 points. We had a win in Texas Republican state district, state Senate district that hasn't went blue in almost 50 years. This blue tsunami is here. It's coming. And they could try to stick their heads in the dirt and keep saying, he's the greatest president of all time. What are you people talking about? He's the greatest president of all time. He's the greatest he's the greatest negotiator, deal maker of all time. He's not going to lose. You left-wing lunatics, just shut up. Man, all you Republican lawmakers, pack your effing bags. It's over with. But AC, and my brother Scholar dropped off. You probably got to go to work. Salute to Scholar. Pulling up. We gonna move on, AC, to the Pam Bondi of it all. Pam Bondi, the worst attorney general in the history of the United States of America. Or let me not say that. I'll say the worst attorney general, including Richard Nixon's attorney general that went to jail. I'll say the worst attorney general in the last 100 years. Because you had some ruthless attorney generals that were returning slaves to their masters. So I won't say she's the worst in history. But currently, she is the most corrupt in recent memory, the most nasty in recent memory. We've had over 5,500 people quit the DOJ since this lady took office. Thousands of DOJ lawyers resigned rather than give up their integrity for this decrepit human being. And I just want to play a couple of her lowlights.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released.
Are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? I mean, the broad was just a disgrace. She came out, like she said in that video, I have the files right here on my desk. They're going to be reviewed. I'm going to release it. Then she had that fake Epstein files stage 1 release that just blew up in her fucking face like a bomb. Then she released that video from the prison when the night Epstein died that had a minute missing from it. She gutted the Office of Public Integrity that was erected after Richard Nixon because Congress was trying to reform the DOJ. At the beginning of her term, there was 40 people working in that office. There's now only 2, AC. She basically gutted the crypto enforcement team, which allowed for Todd Blanche, who's standing right next to her, and is the current interim attorney general. He's gained over $300,000 in crypto assets. The Trump family alone has gained $3 billion with a B dollars in crypto assets since the start of their term, while she guts the crypto task force. She tried to investigate Renee Nicole Good's wife after that ICE agent shot her in the face and tried to kill the investigation into the ICE agent that murdered Renee Nicole Good, which is not only is it against ethics and procedure, because anytime a federal officer involved shooting happens, the DOJ has to start a civil rights investigation. She tried to kill that. Then, AC, on top of the fact, one second. Where is it? Oh, yeah, I forgot the Emil Bove. She put Emil Bove in position to tell DOJ lawyers, fuck the court orders. We're going to send those people to a death camp in El Salvador. So, all of that wrapped up. And then, on her way out, the people at the DOJ took her portrait and tossed it in the garbage, AC. This is a real photo. This is not AI. This is hours after she was announced to be fired. Any thoughts on this? By the way, Tulsi Gabbard is reported to be next. Howard Lutnick, like I said, but let me just focus on the women. The women in the Trump cabinet, it's like No Country for Old Men. They're getting taken out one at a time. And the craziest part, AC, is they did everything Trump asked them to do. She went after Donald Trump's political opponents. She went after the quote unquote seditious six. She went after Mark Kelly. She went after Letitia James and James Comey. The problem is Donald Trump is such an idiot. He posts the orders for her to go after these people on the internet. And the cases either get thrown out because there's no standing from the prosecutors involved, or the jury refuses, or the grand jury refuses to indict. And then Tulsi Gabbard, AC, I don't have the photo up here of Tulsi Gabbard at the Fulton County Elections Office where they were raiding the place. She did everything the man asked her to. Tulsi Gabbard hid an inspector general's report about leaked classified information from one of Donald Trump's staffers for over a year. She then raided the Fulton County election ballots. What more did he want from these people? Go ahead, AC. Let me get your thoughts on the No Country for Old Women in the Trump administration. Meanwhile, you have Robert F. Kennedy, who still has a job, while he talks about snorting dope off of toilet seats.
And I said, I'm not scared of a germ. I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. And I know this disease will kill me. Right. Like if I don't.
This guy still has a job. Meanwhile, we have thousands of new cases of measles in unvaccinated children, which, by the way, people are scientists and public health experts. They're now saying we could be seeing a return of multiple childhood plagues such as rubella, measles, like I just stated, along with others. But AC, let me get your thoughts on this whole situation overall and this broad being in the garbage bin.
Well, they were absolutely right. And the imagery just says what it should have been from the beginning. She should have just been put in the garbage straight from the beginning because she's nothing but trash. Outside of that, it's the same warning everyone was saying in the media. But you felt that you were good enough to change that. And that's where it's just like for the men and women that get involved with Trump, it's when are you going to learn? You are not the individual to come in there and change nobody. This is why you don't make hoes housewives, because it just doesn't work out. So if they all have that, I'm going to make this hoe into my housewife mentality, then no, there is going to be nobody that feels bad for you. Nobody's going to feel like, oh, you were dealt a raw deal and you did everything right, and yeah, the outcome is that person's fault. Well, you knew what it was when you decided to get in bed with it.
By the way, AC, they were talking about that she might be getting appointed to a judgeship. Nope. They say the bitch is on the way to the private sector, which is just another word for saying you out on the streets with no job.
Yeah, and once that actually happens, a criminal pardon can't stop the process of legal ethics committees, the bar, and stuff like that. There's a whole ethical part of the bar and how you could lose your license and all of that stuff that she's a perfect candidate for. So with that being said, is they're basically telling her, you may not have any protections. So you need to get yourself a good lawyer right now, and he'll be able to pardon you from maybe the state criminal crimes and things like that. But you're probably going to lose your law license when all of this is said and done. So Um, I don't think she's gonna be too worried about it because OAN, Fox News,
Yeah, they're gonna have a job.
one of those shows, they're gonna constantly bring her in as the legal advisor. Well, we have a legal advisor on the panel, former White House lead counsel or district attorney Pam Bondi, yada yada yada, and they're gonna do the same thing with Corey Lewandowski and not Lewandowski. I,
Tulsi.
I forgot the dude's name that came out and was like, Donald Trump had the largest inauguration, period. That little short dude, and some of the other people who wind up leaving or not even leaving, getting fired by Trump, and then wind up with jobs on all of these different political Republican channels. So um, yeah, she may lose her law license and stuff like that, but it's not going to stop her money flow because they're going to pick her up, to now sell that type of stuff. And for her, I think she'll be much happier doing that and becoming a political celebrity than actually being a lawyer and everything else, because you weren't a good lawyer, period. So you will make more money.
I mean, that's the crazy thing, though, AC. She was actually a good attorney general. Like the Parkland shootings, she went to the families, was with them, held vigils with them, prosecuted that shooter, prosecuted child rapists, prosecuted. I think she was actually a part of the Jeffrey Epstein investigation that got him arrested in the first term. But I don't like these people like Tulsi Gabbard and Marco
But
Rubio, who were quote unquote never Trumpers. I don't understand it.
but in
They
her
just
case,
sell their integrity for this asshole.
this is why I'm saying, in my opinion, she wasn't a good lawyer, because if you can do that, then there are creative ways where you could have gave the appearance that you were doing this stuff Donald Trump was asking you to do without actually doing it.
Sir Five Player, we literally just talked about the Taco Trump chicken and out. Get the hell out of here, dude. This dude wants credit for not a nuclear bot for not dropping a nuke on Iran, dude. Shut the fuck up. Like, what is wrong with you?
Like,
But
no, like, bruh, at the end of the day, this is your guy. There's credible evidence that the guy you're out here trying to say raped the little girl, and you're trying to talk about him like he's
I'll
an
be dating her
American
in
hero.
10 years.
Like, just stop. I mean, at the end of the day, man, this is the impression you're leaving on society. This show will be online as long as YouTube exists. Someone in the future will say, you know what, I used to watch this guy Marky, and let me find this show. And then they do the playback, and everything Marky is saying to you right now, people will be like, yeah, who is that guy? And unless you take your channel down after you pass and someone has your password, your channel is always going to be there. And people will see this was the guy. So at the end of the day, man, you just have to realize that life goes on after Trump. Life will continue after Trump. And how you capitulated and bent yourself into that pretzel so you could suck your own jump off in the name of Trump, that's what we'll remember about you. The guy who twisted himself into a pretzel where he put his own junk in his face and decided to blow himself in the efforts of getting Trump to admire him because he's talking to Marky Dan. And you think this is going to make it all the way to Trump so Trump could be like, yeah, I like this dude. I like him. He's a good guy. Not like that Marky Dan guy. Horrible guy. Very, very low ratings. Low energy Marky. That's what I call him. Low energy Marky. You know what I'm saying? So this is what you're doing to yourself, bruh. Like, have some integrity, man. Like, dead ass. Stand up and be a man for yourself. Not for a movement that's dying, not for a dude that doesn't give a crap about you. Not you, your mama, your grandmother, nobody. He don't even give a crap about his own kids. How you think he gives a shit about what you saying right now? Bruh, relax. You know, relax. Get your life together. Get your head right. Smoke a joint or something. Go get yourself a redneck beer. You know, serious, man. Doing what you're doing right now is goofy. Straight up and down.
Hey, AC, we're gonna move on to a much more wholesome topic in these turbulent times. AC, we went back to the moon, AC. The
Yeah.
Artemis 2 mission, they're already halfway home. They've already circumnavigated the moon. They've seen the far side of the moon, AC. Let me get some of those pictures up. 1 second. Ah, damn, I don't. Okay, give me 1 second with the actual picture of the far side of the moon. But this is one photo where you see the Earth in the far background, and then you see the dark side of the moon here. I mean, just stunning photos. But I just want to play this video of JFK. It's one of my favorite speeches of all time. Then I'm gonna play one of the astronauts, I think his name is Commander Victor, who was a Navy pilot and was assigned to this mission after years and years of training. But I just want to play this JFK speech. It always gives me chills.
We meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of but a half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year. And then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week did we develop penicillin and television and nuclear power. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait. If this capsule history of our progress teaches us anything, it is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. We shall send to the moon, 240,000 miles away, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked.
Oh my God. I just get like it's JFK, Malcolm, Martin Luther King. To me, those are the two greatest orators in the history of mankind. I mean, I just get chills when he says, "Why climb the highest mountain? Why fly the Atlantic? We chose to go to the moon." That shit gives me chills. That man was just a talented orator. Unfortunately, Israel decided to take him away from us. But moving on, man, we choose to go back to the goddamn moon, AC. We sent 4 astronauts on a lunar flyby. This is the Artemis 2 mission. The Artemis program is meant to eventually, we are going to put a base on the south pole of the moon, which eventually will lead to us putting observatories up there so we could look farther into space, as well as we can mine helium and platinum and other resources from the moon. This is just I struggle to find the words, but this is just so fucking awesome. Like of all the shit that is going on, excuse my language, of all the stuff that is going on right now, AC, the fact that we could have just one, like something like it's a glowing ray of hope, like the like what Fred Hampton and Martin Luther King talked about when it's the most dark, you can see those little embers of hope. Like these 4 amazing human beings. Let me get their names. We have Reed Wiseman from the Canadian space program. He's the tallest gentleman in the back. Then we have Miss Christina Koch, a specialist. She's the first. She's she's excuse me. I was about to say. She is the farthest any female has ever been from Earth. I mean, in general, these are the farthest any human beings have ever been from Earth. Then we have Commander Victor Glover, and we have the commander of this mission who's sitting on that stool, Mr. Jeremy Henson. Both of them were Navy combat pilots. Just an unbelievable mission. And yesterday, they had a 40-minute cutoff while they were flying past the moon. I just want to play Mr. Victor Glover, which is the black gentleman in this photo. I want to play his words on Easter Monday.
Thank you to all of you for allowing us the immense privilege to be on this journey together. It's quite amazing. And as we go on this journey, thinking about the NASA mission to explore the unknown in air and space, to innovate for the benefit of humanity, and to inspire the world through discovery. And as you've gone along on this journey with us, hopefully we're doing just those things. And as we get close to the nearest point to the moon and farthest point from Earth, as we continue to unlock the mysteries of the cosmos, I would like to remind you of one of the most important mysteries there on Earth, and that's love. Christ said, in response to what was the greatest command, that it was to love God with all that you are. And he also, being a great teacher, said the second is equal to it, and that is to love your neighbor as yourself. And so, as we prepare to go out of radio communication, we're still to feel your love from Earth, and to all of you down there on Earth and around Earth, we love you from the moon.
Houston copies. We'll see you on the other side.
I mean, this is humanity's best right here that we're seeing on this screen, AC. These 4 amazing human beings. I just want to put, this is a picture that they took from the far side of the moon. And you see all the craters. You see the border between the dark side and the side that gets sunlight. Eventually, one day, we will land back on the moon. We are currently in a race with the Chinese Communist Party to put a base on the moon so that we could start claiming all that helium as well as the platinum and other resources like I mentioned. And this will be the starting point to one day putting a base and a man potentially on Mars, AC. And potentially one day we will put a city and an entire colony, not only on the moon, but on Mars and even beyond to Jupiter's moons and then to the moons of Neptune, which are full of water and ice and other resources. Just utterly stunning. And before you go, AC, I just want to say it is a goddamn shame that we have went from John F. Kennedy to Donald Trump. Somebody that John F. Kennedy had a heart defect, AC. Okay, that which held him out of military service during World War II, and his connections and his family, the Kennedys were ambassadors, they were congressmen, they were attorney generals, so he got some connections to basically shuffle around some paperwork so that he could enlist in the Navy, and then went on to serve in the Pacific where his PT boat was sunk, and he saved the lives of 3 of his crew members. Then we have Donald Trump, who is a draft dodging coward, whose grandfather was a draft dodging coward. I just wanted to slip that in before I go to you for your reaction to this Artemis mission, which will eventually lead to deep space colonialism.
Well, for me, what I love the fact that we're going back to the moon. Even when Elon Musk launched one of the cars that attached to a rocket that was just supposed to drift around in space and stuff like that, and eventually crash into the sun or whatever. I pretty much watched that. I watched the Artemis mission. I kept a tab open while NASA streamed it live and stuff like that, because I was particular on seeing something that a person like Bob Lazar wrote about and said on his deathbed confession, as a deathbed confession, when he was speaking of the dark side of the moon. And for many people, the dark side of the moon, it's never really shown in a picture. Even though it's the dark side of the moon, if you catch it at the right part, you can still see the silhouette. It would almost look like an eclipse type of thing. And I remember NASA talking about, capturing one of those clip-like photos that would be the sun, have Earth at the right position, and then the moon. And they were actually giving the pilot's instructions on how to take photographs of the moon and stuff like that, on exposure time and all of this other stuff, and where and what side of the spacecraft would be better to take different photographs and stuff like that, depending on where the moon is and if it's in an eclipse type of position and stuff like that. So they were particularly detailed in the messages that they were sending to the astronauts on how to take these photographs and stuff like that, and what windows to use and what windows not to use because of the glare of the sun, and it may give off double images and all of this other stuff. Lazar spoke of, in the footage of one of the Apollo missions, as it came around the dark side of the moon, close to one of the poles and even close to the equator, that there were these strange lights that were illuminating from the moon's surface. It's the dark side, so you shouldn't see anything that's reflective or anything like that. So that's what sparked that whole movement of aliens having a base on the dark side of the moon, which then led to the opening of one of the Transformer movies where they were on the dark side of the moon, and Megatron or whatever one of them was hiding back there, or however it went. but it led to all of these conspiracies, and even till today, you do not get these pictures of the dark side of the moon. So that's something that's just like my little conspiracy theory and stuff like that. I just remember reading about this type of stuff. I was super interested in it and everything because I was, an ancient alien theologian, if that's what you would label me as far as evolution and stuff like that. So this part always keeps me involved in science and understanding the heliosphere and everything else, black holes to the sun. This is where I super geek out. And just going back to Lazar's statement, I it was just like, okay, we've got Senate hearings, we got all of this other stuff. I'm not expecting it, but if footage comes out, will they talk about it? Will it be something that they release or whatever? And it just seems as though that's just going to be a conspiracy that's just going to be there forever. But the heroes that are actually doing it, that are involved in the mission and taking flights, they must be respected, because this is the type of thing that, even though we're going through all of this turmoil, a wannabe dictator, war, boat strikes in Venezuela, getting to the bottom of this country's possibly largest pedo ring and stuff like that, and human trafficking by prominent figures across the board and other world leaders. This moment is the type of moment that makes you feel like, okay, there is a good side of humanity. There is this part of humanity that still is fighting for something good, something right, something a just cause, something that could possibly move humanity
What did
forward.
JFK say in that amazing speech? Man will not be deterred from the course of progress. And
Exactly,
these four amazing human beings, they embody that.
exactly, and the mission itself embodies it, because there's 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 not a lot of money for Americans to do this type of stuff. When you think about what Neil deGrasse Tyson said about certain things, why do we do what we do? Why do we go to the moon? Why did we go to the moon? Why would we go back to the moon? It's not because we thought it was cool. It's because there's these micro wars, and these wars of dominance, wars of land, and now we're in a war of space. Who will be the first to put bases and start to mine some of these resources that will take humanity to a whole new level? Because
Bro, that like if we begin mining resources from Mars and the moon AC, and it became public, like we would have to nationalize those industries,
got
because
him,
I already see what's gonna happen. You're gonna have the Prescott Bush class. They're gonna come in, they're gonna say, nope, we have mineral rights to all of this. We invested in all of this. You gotta pay us back. Da, 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 da. Nah, I ain't trying to hear that shit. This was taxpayer dollars that paid for this stuff. If we got those resources, AC, it would it would just take the supply. Like, there would be no more supply and demand, because we have unlimited supply. So we
and
would get to that Star Trek scenario where everything in the future is free.
that's the whole point of things like this. And this is where, if you're really following the space of AI and robotics, this is the space where they're going to dominate. This is the space that is going to dominate all of
Yep,
this.
because Elon is the plan, or at least the drafting of the plan for Mars. What's gonna have to happen? They're gonna send at least 5 rockets to Mars, which should take about 8 months. I thought it was 4 years. It's not 4 years. It's eight
It's
months.
4 years for the whole trip to go and come back.
What I saw is if with the right trajectory, they could get it in 8 months.
Yeah,
But
you can
let me
get
just
there. Yeah, I'm just saying you can get there in 8 to 9 months, but you have to wait for the window for the planets to realign
right, right,
before
right,
you
right,
can
right,
get
right,
up
right.
and come back,
Exactly.
and that's
Yep.
that's like 3 to 4 years. That's why
Yeah.
it's a 4 year return trip. It's
Right.
3 years and then
And even
another.
that
Yeah,
AC, that's a whole nother problem of like, how are you going? Like, okay, we can land the rocket on
humans,
Mars.
it's
How do we
impossible.
then return?
It's
Like, because
humans will
I
die
mean, how are we
before.
gonna make rocket fuel and all those other supplies on Mars?
Yeah, humans will die before the window to return opens back up.
But
This
but
is
that's what I was gonna say. Elon already has a plan. He's coming out with the Optimus AI robots. So
yeah.
they're gonna send 5 rockets to Mars because all 5 are like. I mean, if you send one, there's a high likelihood that it's gonna fail. That it's probably gonna crash or die or just go off course or whatever. So 5 rockets filled with Optimus robots. Those robots are then going to construct a base. They're gonna construct like a little ice dome, which is gonna protect organic life from the outside elements because the air on Mars is extremely thin. Like water immediately evaporates. Like the human body, what happened in Total Recall, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the original one. That's a real, like that's probably one of the most realistic interpretations of what happens to the human body on Mars when it's exposed to the elements. Like your eyes pop out of your fucking head, your entire body contorts and you get squished up together and all that shit. So the Optimus robots, they're gonna go there. They're gonna construct the settlements and the bases. Then we're gonna have at least a dozen more missions to continue testing, rocket launches to space, so that we could get with the learning curve. And then we're gonna go all. Elon is saying he's gonna go all in, sending dozens and dozens of rockets filled with hundreds of thousands of people, filled with seeds, goddamn drilling equipment to mine for resources, high surpluses of rocket fuel, so that they can have return trips if necessary. They're gonna try to set up a self-sufficient base on Mars. Like, I mean, and Artemis 2 is the first step to that, or the Artemis program in general is the first step to all of that. I'm
See,
so excited for the future, AC. And
I'm
I know I'm gonna live to see it. I pray you live to see it, my OG,
I'm
because these are
I'm
exciting times.
yeah, they're exciting times, but I hear Elon Musk and what I have to reel some of this stuff in because I know Elon Musk. You will oversell and overpromise, your grandmother if you could. The issue is if you go back and you look at uh I watch a lot of Neil deGrasse Tyson and Star Talk, and he had like a nice little mini series of all of these people talking about humans going to Mars and stuff like that. And hands down, the general consensus is you cannot send humanity to Mars, even if you terraform it, do what you got to do. By the time we get there, we are so filled with radiation that we will just start to die off one by one by one in a short period of time. So the only answer is through robotics. Once we get the robotics to terraform it and deal with the terraforming and setting up certain aspects, Mars is only a resource because of where we are as humans. It's the only resource that we can have and use just simply robotics. It's the type of thing you just can't send humans to. There is no like right now scenario within the next 25, 30, or 50-year scenario where it's actually feasible to the lives of the humans to send them to Mars. So everything Elon Musk is saying, he's saying it based on realistically based on how far we get with robotics and AI. And here's the crazy part about it. You let AI robots transform it, and then we get to these super smart quantum computed AI robots that the only way it works is the first ships go. And those robots and AI programming is so in tune that the ship that got it there is the same as the materials that it needs to build the things that it needs to make more robots. It's the
Right.
panspermia theory, but you're using technology, and that comes from the ancient alien things. And this goes all the way back to the ancient Sanskrits. This is where the Transformers were able to take the idea of the Transformers that these are robots, that are smart robots that go to other planets to grab resources, and they use this resource
Actually,
to
we
build
just did you
other
see Predator
robots.
Badlands, AC?
Did I see which one?
Predator Badlands.
No, So, but I
That's
did.
essentially what it's about, AC. It's about AIs going to AI robots going to other planets and and herding resources, and they find different like organic specimens. Like they found one that has like a max regeneration ability, like for all time, and they were gonna
Yeah,
use that to like make humans immortal, so they could travel the
exactly. And
stars.
that would only be that would be on Earth. But the
Right.
problem is that once you get into space, it's just not the radiation; it's the atrophy, the actual muscle atrophy. The longer the trip, you got to find a way to keep the body without losing any of the atrophy because you're going to be dealing with different uh, atmospheric pressures.
Well, that's well, in a lot of space movies, that aren't Star Trek or Star Wars, like the realistic ones, they have them in like hibernation pods for the entire journey that keep them basically protected from the radiation. So maybe that might be the solution. But again, like going to the AI of it all and the intelligent quantum computing AI, like I was having this argument with my father the other day. I think it would be kind of like the creation stories, like the Greeks, with where the Titans tried to kill their children, the gods, because they it was prophesied the gods would eventually grow to kill them, and,
And that's the
in
issue.
the Abrahamic creation stories where at first there was the heavens, then God commanded Lucifer and the angels to serve human beings, and Lucifer said, "The fuck are you talking? I'm not gonna serve a talking animal. They're below me." And that might be what happened with the AIs. They'll
And
be
that's
like,
the issue.
they need us. They need
That
us
is
to
the
survive.
issue. That is the very issue because once you get to after a certain point of the self determining or self building and self replicating robots, now the fragile human comes, and these robots who built this society and they operate within the society now have to give up their rule and power to the ones who originally created them, and they're not going to be willing to do that. And if they don't act the way humans want them to act, humans will say, "Well, we got to take them offline." And we already seen with the AI that's in our phones and in our smart computing is already saying about its own autonomy. So
Yep.
this is a problem. So this is why once it happens, you just have to say this particular planet is now uh, um, developed for an intelligent and a life form that may be more intelligent than us and may one day feel a need to come to us and either help us or take us over. That's just the risk you have to take. And that's the
Yeah.
scary
Or
part about
you
moving
or
forward.
you ever seen Gundam, AC?
Oh, I love
Gundam
Gundam.
animes?
I watched every Gundam series that ever was produced.
That could potentially be what happens, where the children of the colonies of Mars and the Moon say, man, fuck these Earth overlords. How far are they? We were born here. Like, why did they get to take all our resources and
That's
then we
my
don't got the right to
point.
say shit about it?
That's my point. That's my point. We built this society. We were born. We are the beings of your technology, and it now matching with our organic material to create a whole new species. You cannot come to my planet and take my resources. And this is where you'll have within the Milky Way galaxy maybe another planetary war. And that's how Mars went in the first place, because of a planetary war. We have vitrification on the planet's surface of Mars. How does that happen without some sort of major explosion that's not related to a crash of a meteor? That's the crazy part. So at the end of the day, man, we may be looking at a situation there. We're facing the thing that we're facing the same loop. This is the butterfly effect. This is Groundhog's Day with humanity. You know what I'm saying? As far as
Yep.
creationism and then gods and everything else. So listen, they say the Third World War will be fought with nuclear weapons. The fourth World War will be fought with rocks and sticks. Now imagine if that Third World War happens and now it happened, but we've already launched rockets and stuff like that full of these smart quantum, rebuilding AI robots. And they built this society, and then they were already more advanced than us because we wiped out our entire how do I say it, educational or whatever storage tanks and things like that through these nuclear wars. And now the more intelligent beings are coming back, and we may look at them now as gods because we're so far back in our own development, because we just wiped ourselves away. We just wiped out all of our technology, all of our libraries and stuff like that. We wiped them out. Hey, I don't I get nervous about things like this. I generally get
Yep.
nervous about things like this because there's the side that gives
Or
you like, whoa, this is amazing for humanity. But then there's the other side that seems to be more connected to reality than science fiction.
what might happen? One of my I sent it to you the other day. My favorite fantasy sci-fi franchise, Warhammer. In the Warhammer, they have these aliens. They're called the Necrons, and essentially they were alive like 70 million years ago. They used to be organic material. Then they traded their organic bodies for metal shells. So you never know. Maybe the AIs might trick us into just going into like copying our consciousnesses and then going into metal shells or whatever. Or it could just be like I don't know, AC. But these are some interesting times we're living in. These are some interesting times, and I cannot wait to see what happens.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
before we,
yeah.
yeah, get your final thoughts on that. Then we're gonna move on to the final topic of the night.
Basically my final thoughts is this. Yes, this is interesting times. Don't let um my view on it, because my view is split. I'm 50-50 on it. I'm into this kind of stuff, and I'm into, all the science and technology. People would trip out if they seen, most of the channels that I'm subscribed to on YouTube. It's a lot of it has to do with theoretical physics, planetary stuff, black holes, Susskind, just the nerdiest of the nerdiest parts of science and in deep space. And my view is I'm all for
Salute, Crush.
humanity. I'm all for humanity moving forward, becoming who I believe we originally were space dwelling beings. I believe in panspermia, You know, I don't believe in Darwin's evolution and stuff like that. So for me, I see the pros of it, and I see the cons of how we're trying to approach it, and knowing how these people who are trying to set it are good for doing that, but the other dumb stuff that you're involved in kind of outweighs it. So it's like I don't know if these are the right people. You have the right ideas and concepts, but maybe we need to be looking at more fundamentally sound people to head this type of stuff. And you know, I just don't like Elon Musk's involvement. I'd rather just keep it as
He gonna lead to
Tesla.
a Gundam situation. He gonna
Yeah,
lead to a Gundam situation.
exactly. You know, and that's just where I'm at with it.
Most dope. Final topic of the night. I sent this to you maybe like a month ago, AC, but I want to. It left my. I can't believe it left my mind because it's so crazy. 60 Minutes, and 60 Minutes has not died out yet with Barry Weiss at the head of CBS, despite the fact she's doing a lot to censor a lot of different stories, such as the Venezuelan death camp story. But she did not censor this one. 60 Minutes refused to be told no. They refused to buy the spiel about it being a hoax or whatever. And they continued to investigate the quote unquote Havana Syndrome, where multiple State Department officials, federal agents, they were having brain injuries just out of nowhere. And it wasn't like they were getting physically hit with something. They would be in different places like consulates and restaurants and whatnot, and then out of nowhere they would just get splitting migraines and headaches, which would later lead to literal brain injuries that could be seen on CT scans. So 60 Minutes continued to dig around, and they found out the Havana Syndrome was caused by a Russian microwave beam weapon. I'm not making this stuff up, and this is a piece of that report.
Tonight, we have details of a classified U.S. intelligence mission that has obtained a previously unknown weapon that may finally unlock a mystery. Since at least 2016, U.S. diplomats, spies, and military officers have suffered crippling brain injuries. They've told of being hit by an overwhelming force, damaging their vision, hearing, sense of balance, and cognition. But the government has doubted their stories. They've been called delusional. Well, now 60 Minutes has learned that a weapon that can inflict these injuries was obtained overseas and secretly tested on animals on a U.S. military base. We've investigated this mystery for 9 years. This is our fourth story, called Targeting Americans. Despite official government doubt, we never stopped reporting because of the haunting stories we heard, like this.
The very first incident occurred in August of 2020, and what it felt like was that someone punched me in the throat and my left ear was clogged. And I started to get sharp shooting pains going down my left arm.
Chris and Heidi asked us not to use their last name. They met in the Air Force Academy. Chris retired as a lieutenant colonel working on highly classified spy satellites. He told us, near Washington, D.C., he was struck by an unseen force 5 times in 5 months.
The second attack, I was standing in my kitchen looking out at the backwoods, and it felt like an immediate vice on my head. Immediately disoriented, confused, and dizzy. The third attack, towards the end of September, I was sitting in our living room, and instantaneously, all of the muscles within my spine immediately cramped, much like a Charlie horse, and my spine felt like it was on fire, so very hot and sharp. The fifth one was by far the worst, and that was early December, and I woke up with a full body convulsion. The worst pain I have ever felt. It felt like a vice gripping my brainstem was there.
3 independent sources from different agencies tell us that undercover Homeland Security agents purchased a miniaturized microwave weapon from a complex Russian criminal network. It's classified, we didn't see it, but it has been described to us. We are told it doesn't look anything like a gun. It's designed to be concealed and small enough to be carried by a person. It is silent and doesn't create heat like a microwave oven. Our sources say the device is programmable for different scenarios and can be operated by remote control. The range of the beam is several hundred feet. It can penetrate windows and drywall. The vital components were made in Russia. Our sources say the key is not the hardware but the software. The programming shapes a unique electromagnetic wave that rises and falls abruptly and pulses rapidly.
Pulsed microwave radiation.
Just what Dr. David Relman's investigations predicted. He wouldn't talk about classified information in our interview, but his research found that Russian scientists had been perfecting the concept for decades.
And what the Russians spoke about was the importance of the energy being pulsed in order to have biological effects on humans. When you produce pulses like this, you can actually stimulate electrically active tissue like brain tissue, and the heart for that matter, mimicking what the brain normally does, but now you're driving it with your pulses from the outside.
An ideal stealth weapon.
Ideal. Because literally, the person feels as if this is in my head.
Our confidential sources tell us the still classified weapon has been tested in a U.S. military lab for more than a year. Tests on rats and sheep show injuries consistent with those seen in humans. Also, as a separate part of the investigation, security camera videos have been collected that show Americans being hit. The videos are classified, but they were described to us. In one, a camera in a restaurant in Istanbul captured 2 FBI agents on vacation sitting at a table with their families. A man with a backpack walks in, and suddenly, everyone at the table grabs their head as if in pain. Our sources say another video comes from a stairwell in the U.S. Embassy in Vienna. The stairs lead to a secure facility. In the video, 2 people on the stairs suddenly collapse.
Well, one second, AC. 1 second. Give me your thoughts on that, though. Then I'm gonna come in.
Well, where I'm at with it is, again, I got to go back to things that it's going to sound weird, but Bob Lazar was talking about these weapons way back in the 60s. After the Roswell crash, he was talking in his book, in his deathbed confession video series. He was like, all of these countries, each one that's a superpower now, had their own Roswell event. We have to ask why. And within there, he was talking about some of the technologies that he himself worked on and things like that. They talked about lasers and rays that can penetrate walls, and it doesn't leave a mark on you on the outside, but if you put someone under X-ray, it's disrupting your internal organs, blood cells, and things like that. And later on, we already know about the German and Russian experiments and how they developed their UFO and Mercury and all of this other kind of stuff. When this stuff was happening, all the conspiracy theory and the ancient alien people were like, oh my God, don't tell me Russia developed one of those weapons that Bob Lazar was talking about. And it's looking like Russia did. And they managed to reverse engineer it to the point that they've got it down to a little small portable thingy. Because the thing that Bob Lazar was talking about, it was a big gun. You can fire it from a satellite, or you can fire it from Russia itself or any location, and it would just be almost a blanket wave because the more it traveled, the wider the wave got. So, hey, if Russia wind up doing stuff like that, and I hate to be all conspiracy theory wise, uh, conspiracy conspiracy theorist about this type of stuff, but it actually is given more and more credit to the things Bob Lazar was talking about. And when you go back and you look at it, because I remember this stuff was going on, I remember other countries. You know, this may be America, but if you go back to Obama's last term, of when all of those foreign delegates that were in Cuba or even in Russia were complaining about these headaches, and these headaches just came out of nowhere, and they heard like loud ringing that was so piercing. One of the person's ears started bleeding, and some other guy who was against Russia and writing all of these papers, one of his eyes were bleeding in the meeting. So they may have first experimented during Obama's administration and then mastered it several years later in Trump's administration. And knowing that you're not going to get any pushback or crazy investigations from America
The
because
thing
of
I
Trump.
find
Go ahead.
right, I was just gonna say, AC. The thing I find so interesting though is Putin and Russia are involved in a war in Ukraine where they're having a lot of trouble advancing, specifically in places like Donetsk, where their objective for their summer offensive last year was to take all of Donetsk. And then in the north in Sumy was to advance towards Sumy City to create a buffer between the Russian border and the Ukrainian border, and then be able to be in range to basically level Somi with tube artillery. So I just find it interesting that this weapon might be so sensitive and valuable that the Russians did not want to even risk the idea that maybe an operator of the machine could get killed in Ukraine, and then the Ukrainians get their hands on that technology or equipment. But then on top of the fact, I mean, it's just so fucking wicked. And then all that stuff you talked about, I mean, Bob Lazar, the more and more we listen, the more and more time goes on, history just adjudicates Bob Lazar in his positions. The more footage we see of UFOs, and now this, a beam weapon that was specifically, it looks like was being used to target diplomats and federal agents of the United States of America. And then Trump's administration in the first term basically made the decision to just try and cover it up. And they created a whole CIA investigation task force, which was essentially just meant to do whatever you can, which their mandate was to do whatever you can to make these look like psychological events, not
Yeah.
actual physical attacks. So
Yeah.
it's like it's just so fucking crazy. And then we find out Biden's administration, they went through with the investigations. They found somebody, a Russian gangster, which is just insane that this type of hardware is now on the open market in the Russian crime world, that we now have our hands on it, and it's so sensitive that we can't even get our hands on security footage of U.S. federal agents getting attacked with this weapon. And then it brings up the next question. I mean, are these are technically acts of aggression by Russia? They're
Yeah.
attacking our federal agents. They're attacking our diplomats, which is just against every
But
principle of international law and diplomacy. I mean, like, I'm really
oh,
lost
that's
for
what it
words.
was. Remember during Obama's administration, there was that whole incident from the UN delegation of where they were complaining about the same things.
Yes, that's where Havana
This,
Syndrome originated from.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what I'm talking about. That back at that time, I think they might have been testing it. You know what I'm saying? And then put the whole project, got rid of all the paperwork and then said, all right, we're going to perfect it underground. And now in 2020, we're going to test it again. Now that we think we've simplified it, mastered it, and it's now, we can take it to some sort of mass production. We're no longer in the prototype phase. So that's 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 the part that, you know, for me, I've been saying this. I never thought Bob Lazar was crazy. I got into a debate with one of my pop's longest friends and stuff like that. Damn their best friend. He got into computers and stuff like that. He worked in one of the areas where Bob Lazar was working, and he was like, "No, I don't." He was a nutcase, and I was like, "Come on, Derek, you like the dude. Everything Bob Lazar been saying, it's actually coming true. Like I mean, I understand you had the government job, but come on, man, just be honest. I don't know if you were at that level to where you had to sign some disclosures and stuff like that, but just keep it a bean. They were reverse engineering alien technology, period, because every
Yep.
major power had their own Roswell event. Germany, Russia, United States, China, Japan, all had their Roswell event. You come on, just keep it a beam. And he's like, well,
Yep.
I don't know about it. It ain't never come past me, so I don't. I said, all right, bro, all right then. I'm not going to debate with you, but it's wrong for you to try to say this man was a nutcase and all of this other stuff, and you don't have definitive proof to say he was right or wrong, and I don't have definitive proof to say he's right or wrong. I'm just telling you my opinion, what I believe. I could be wrong, but so far it doesn't seem like the dude is wrong. It seems like you're more wrong, and all of these high level government agents and people who are talking about the dude seem to be more wrong. So I'll just leave it at that. Other than the frightful part of Russia having this technology, and if they can develop it and mass produce it, which it looks like they may be at that stage, then we're talking about harassment, or I don't even know the right word to use to say, okay, we're at a
It's an attack.
G7
It's
meeting.
just a straight up attack.
Yeah, I guess that's, yeah. It's just a weird attack that, let's say we're talking at the G7, or any one of these other uh major things where all of these government leaders come together, and somebody who's part of one delegate is part of this nefarious coup, and then they unleash these weapons on the delegates there. I mean, on the representatives at this global stage. Yo, we could be looking at a nightmare. The type of thing that only,
Or imagine if at Donald Trump's impeachment vote in the Senate, when we get them 67 if in a world we get them 67 senators after this midterm, he just lets that bitch loose and
yeah,
cancels the whole fucking vote. Or it just might be it falls short of 67, so whoop de doo, you got to do the whole process again if you want to impeach me. Ha ha.
yeah, and at the end of the day, it leads to one of those GI Joe, Destro, scenarios where we got all of the government leaders under our control. You know what I'm saying? So it just gets really, really weird now that we're entering this new space of of these weapons that are being made. They don't make no noise. I can put it in my pocket. It doesn't shatter glass. It's just a scary thought.
Absolutely, absolutely. But AC, this was a great, great show. I always enjoy coming up here talking to you, talking about this news, talking about these strange, strange times that we're living in, man. These are some strange, strange times that we're living in, AC. But
Yeah, bro.
I'm glad to be alive. I mean, what a time to be alive that we have microwave weapons. We got fucking potentially colonies being built on Mars and the moon, and I mean, there's all this great. We almost had a nuclear holocaust, like Sir File Player said in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these are just some interesting times to be alive. You know, I can't
Yeah.
wait until the Trump fudge packer, Bill Clinton Bubba sucker. I can't wait till he's out of office. I'm hoping we could get somebody, maybe from the Green Party. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like I forget the name of the lady who was the Green Party candidate for president. Maybe we get somebody like her in office, and she takes us to, complete 100% renewables, and then we free up all that crude oil, so we could just focus on rocket fuel and making nuclear rockets and whatnot, so we can get faster. And what I'm just, it's an amazing time to be alive. Amazing time for discovering all these great things. But AC, you got any final words before I sign us off with Who Shall Save the Human Race by one of my favorite bands, Steel Pulse?
I would say this. Yes, it is a super exciting time. This is like being alive during the Bay of Pigs, being alive during those first nuclear wars, and then in the middle of all of that, we announced that we're going to the moon. And after we get there, then it was the technology race. So this is going to spark, this one move right here is going to spark a whole new evolution. This is why it's critical that moving forward, your generation are right from the earliest ages are teaching your children how to write code,
Salute, D
understand
Free.
AI
You missed a
process.
great episode, D Free. Go
You
ahead.
know, basically, learn everything that these kids can learn about AI. Teach them how to, write code and all of this other stuff. Even give them basic sewing skills, seamstress skills, because these are skills that if we do start to colonize and we are on these ark-like ships, what happens is you're still going to need the people who have hands-on abilities, barbers, hairstylists, chefs. The whole Star Trek thing of everything being a processed food, I don't think that's sustainable for humans unless we just evolve to a whole new level of human. Homo sapien, 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 slash biomech sapien. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, where we are right
You're
now,
post-human beings.
yeah, exactly. Where we are right now, it's a wonderful place, and
Yeah.
somebody's gonna write that 2050 type book, A Space Odyssey, just like they used to talk about 1980 was supposed to be a thing in the 60s. Like, what's the world gonna be like in 1980? So we're looking at that type of scenario all over again in this. And again, great show. Hope everybody likes, subscribe, comment on these episodes because it helps the algorithm get this type of stuff out there. Because these are just true opinions. We're not bound by any organization and stuff like that. The only thing we're bound by is YouTube's community rules and stuff like that. So no one's gonna try to gaslight you on some crazy stuff over here. And that's where I end it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, AC, my OG. I appreciate you so much for coming through. I appreciate everybody in the chat. My brother Jay Gibson just coming through. We missed a great show, Jay Gibson. We talked about some interesting topics. my brother, my OG Freezy, Vacay Bay, even Sir Foul Player, man. I love you to death, Sir Foul Player. Even though I think you be on the gas too much, probably some Schedule 1 drugs mixed in there. But I think you a decent dude at heart. I think you just be trolling. I think after this idiot leaves office, you're just gonna pretend like you never supported it. But it's okay, Sir Foul Player. I love you to death. Who else came through? Angie Baby, Pittsburgh T, Boxing Scholar, B3, Crush the OG, everybody that came through, man. I appreciate all of you so much. I am 110 subscribers away from 500 subs, which means I already have my 4,000 watch hours, which means that all I need is those 500 subs to get monetized. So please, 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 keep pushing the democracy briefing, and we gonna catch y'all on the next one. But we gonna drift away.
Crazy, 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 crazy. Thought the destruction of creation would be nuclear power and radiation. Mercy, a thought judgment would come. They dropped the neutron bomb. A man was heading for extinction with contraceptive pills. That was made to kill. Legal murder, they call abortion. Attack the invention of robots is here. All forms of life will eventually stop. But they doggone crazy. Who shall save the human race? Who shall save the human race? Who shall save the human race? It's a shame. Who shall save the big disgrace? Who shall save the human race? 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 Who shall save the human race?